Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today I'm Bancroft and joined once again by Trevor, Nick, and like always, Fluff.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
What's up, beautiful people?
In today's matchup is Trevor versus Nick. Trevor's brought back SS3 Son Goku, while Nick has brought back his Xeno Goku deck. So it's kind of like, almost like the Heroes episode 1, I think, when they're about to square off. So, like always, it's buttons not below. Feel free to click there for a reason. But let's get into today's matchup. Thoughts about going against each other?
Well, we were playing My Hero before this, like 3 games or 2 or 3 games, and then and then we immediately got paired up round 1. So I was like, oh, well, this is fun.
Yeah, and both of us are familiar with each other's decks because we also played earlier in the week. So we kind of know what each other's playing, the line of play for the decks, and kind of the expected turnout if certain things go his way early or not go his way early will kind of like set the pace for the rest of the match.
I will say, because I think I've played against both these decks. Xeno Goku, very aggressive, and Nick wants it to be, and you can be very defensive. So it's almost kind of like that whole, the unstoppable. Oh my gosh.
The immovable object
thank
versus the unstoppable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, it's kind of like a ticking clock for me, because once Trevor gets awakened, if he's able to establish stuff like unisons and his leader gains plus 20k power, I'm usually not that defensive of a deck, so I kind of have to put the gas on as soon as I can. But my bursts, as you can see, weren't the greatest. I mean, I got my combo Kai, but he was able to remove it immediately with the Champa Destroys. So I'm kind of struggling already, which kind of sucks. Because I want to put a lot more pressure on early so I can stop him from ramping, and I can stop him from essentially just doing most of his stuff. And with blue in particular, they don't really go too battle card heavy. Some decks do, but a lot of times they usually wait to drop just big bombs in the late game. So a lot of my early game removal is kind of dead. I don't really have much to do with it. And you can see I charged the Bardock Overwhelm as a floodgate for battle cards, and since blue's not playing too many battle cards, it's kind of useless, so it was a charge target for me.
Yeah, Bancroft mentioned it once he pulled me into the chat earlier. I bottom decked Beerus Destroys. I think from where it bottom decks an opponent's card, my brain that night after playing those matches of My Hero was fried, so I also put my card at the bottom of the deck. I will say there's not a single card in my deck that will cause me to shuffle the deck, so I will never see it again.
Yeah, more of the story, kids. Don't play 2 card games back to back. It'll fuck you up.
We are still playing the best of 1 sideboard format. Talk about your sideboard options going into this match. You both know each other's decks. Did you all make sideboard adjustments to account for that?
Yes. I threw in 3 Heroic Prospect.
And for me, I mean, my deck already runs Blue Hate already with True Fighting Spirit Gokus and Vegeta's True Fighting Spirits. So I don't think I sideboarded anything in this matchup. Though I already have Blue Hate, so it wasn't needed.
And most of the Blue Hate that exists, that most people would run, I can either not care about because I don't run Dimension Magic in this list, or I could not care about it because I would typically play like the Vegeta the Interceptor, because the ones that would actually affect my leader and Boo don't have barriers, so I just bottom deck them for free basically because I restand the 3 energy for playing it at the end of the turn.
Let's talk about the negates you do play for those people who are probably going, what? To Dimension Magic.
So, no Dimension Magic because you don't need it because you restand so much energy. I think I run 1 Mafuba with 1 in the side. I run 2 Gohan Brainwash. and 2 Vegeta Ready to Rumble. In this match, I sided in Heroic Prospects, and of course, Baby Hatchak.
It's just convenient with a leader that does ramp. You have access to potentially better negates for more aggro push.
Yeah, and just with SS3 Reboot, where you restand the 3 energy, if you play Boo, you restand an additional 1. So you always have the energy for the defensive plays that other blue decks wouldn't have options to. Like SS4, you can choose to leave up your energy and just kind of play defensively, but then you don't play anything on your own turn. So it's the upside to this deck. Of course, the downside is the Unawakened side is actually terrible if you play against anything with any kind of hand control, like this Demigra, for example.
Yeah, SS4 has such a slow start as far as finding its pieces. And a lot of what you're doing right now to kind of get that going with the Boo Unison, now that you're awakened, it'll start getting better for you, but it's not going to be great.
Yeah, and luckily I was under the heroic prospect, but I still have revived Ravager Vegeta, so I can at least do some type of pressure. But now that he's got that Boo Unison established, it really does put up a wall against me. None of my cards really have protection, no barrier, no deflect, so it's honestly just fair game for whatever he wants to do. Granted, it's only once per turn, but since I don't have a Demigra Unison on board, I'm only overwhelming once per turn now, so it's really hard for me to come back from it, honestly. So it was a brick wall. That's about it.
So Nick, what is your current out in this situation? I mean, he's basically limiting your overwhelm package while sitting on that wall. What is your out in your mind? Is there something specifically that you're looking for?
Well, for me, the sad part about it is like I don't really have ways to interact with the Unison besides maybe swinging at it. Because like I said before, none of my stuff really has protection, and he knows I'm running 4 SS3 Thwartings because it's a black deck. He knows I'm running SS4 Thwarting because I just put it on the board. So essentially, all he has to do is just wait for me to play those cards and then just do the effects because those big bombs are my outs. But given that he bottom decks instead of KOing or any other effects, it really hurts me. So it's kind of I take a lot of time with my turns these next few turns just because it's just a puzzle and I don't really have at least this list doesn't really have many solutions to it. And then if he just runs a floodgate, I mean I just can't swing and then I just have to pass with nothing.
Yeah, Heroic Prospect just does so much work in this matchup because all these Xeno Gogeta based decks tend to not run a lot of or ways to kind of get a hand other than the leader swing or taking the life off damage. So the cost of bottom decking 2 cards to swing through a Heroic Prospect is pretty hefty.
Yeah, and since he was able to essentially just reestablish another Boo Unison for free, I mean, it's like and with the floodgates that he has, it's like I can't really play turns at this point. I don't have anything low enough to just swing at, and all my big stuff just gets stopped. So it's really just a flounder at this point.
And I should have restood this other energy off Fates as well as my other Boo that I also +/- at the start of the turn. It's another misplay, but that's what happens whenever you do math beforehand.
Yeah, so at this point, I've kind of realized like I can't get through the Unison no matter what, so I kind of just have to just go for it essentially. Just swing a lead and hopefully something will stick. but he immediately bottom decks with the boo.
Yeah, that's rough. That's really rough.
Yeah. It's essentially at this point he's just in full control of the game. I really can't. And just another aspect, I honestly just can't do anything.
Do you run the SS4 Gogeta?
Yeah, and it's in my hand right now. But like I said, all he has to do is just -1, then it goes away.
Can it be
Or-
removed from the field while it's in rest mode?
It can't be KO'd.
It can't be
while in
KO'd.
rest mode.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
so we can absolutely.
It
go
also
away.
doesn't have deflect, so you can just God Seal it back to hand, and then he's tapped out.
Yeah, that's true.
So I had both the SS3 and the SS4 in hand, and I just didn't know what was the right call. And honestly, both of them are kind of wrong because you're spending the resources regardless, and it didn't matter. At this point, I was kind of just like, "Can you just kill me now, please?"
Yeah, I think we go into whatever our last turn is, and you're just like, please just swing. I'm like, no, I gotta do all these things. You're like, swing, please.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't really draw too much. Most of my draw power is on the unawakened side. I have a couple battle cards that'll draw me cards every now and then, but once it gets towards the end, once it gets to later turns like this, like I really don't have too many options to draw. And I was essentially just a choke, a war of attrition, and I just didn't have enough resources or anything I could do really.
Is there anything that you are worried about at this point in the match, Trevor, or do you feel like you have the game well under control and it's just a matter of not messing up yourself?
I would say that at this point, I felt pretty much in control. I know he's got one Gogeta at the bottom of his deck. He's got one in his energy, so at most he would be able to play 2 in one turn. I have a God Sealing in hand, so I know he can't play the big one. And then obviously I have block and various other negates for like his double strike leader swing. So at this point I felt really comfortable. I'm drawing enough cards every single turn to where I actually have the ability to kind of make it through what would usually be a real issue. But him not seeing the necessary pieces early to get the turn 1 Gogeta to get through 3 damage, it would have been 2 because I would have Beerused the other one, or the leader swing regardless.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I think, kind of set the tone for the match from that point forward. Because then I was able to get Boo out, and then from that point I was okay. But if he was able to establish that Gogeta turn 1 with a high roll, basically, it's possible I would literally I'd be dead right now because I would have taken 2 damage turn 1 and then probably 2 damage turn 2 if I didn't have like a Mafuba in hand.
Yeah, there's a real chance that he out aggroes you before you're able to get your setup, or puts you in a position where if you use your leader's ramp ability, you're putting yourself in kill range, which means that if you don't play perfect for the rest of the game, you're pretty much dead at any point, if not dead, before you can establish.
And here I see me combo the Seeker Rare. It's kind of how bad it was for me. It wasn't even a point using it as a counter attack. Because even if he God Seals that, then I literally can't play it. It's a dead card.
Well, you can't use the counter for the rest of the turn, but you could use it like the following turn.
Yeah, but like I said, there's no point. And then he has full of his energy back, and now it's my turn. I think I don't have too many cards in hand. I think I have Gogeta and SS3 and 4 in hand. Figured I might as well try, but I have to overwhelm instead of fuse because I don't have the pieces in the drop.
Yeah, That's rough.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't really. It's kind of funny because there's not really much to say
So I forgot
about this because it's.
I forgot to mention this earlier to Nick. You could have warped Vegeta though, so he wouldn't have as a block target.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter. And I wasn't going to be able to do the. Well, he was still sitting at 4 life, so there was no way for me to even get close to hitting him. Like I said, I just didn't because I had the SS4 in hand, thwarting in hand, but I had no way. I honestly, I didn't have a way to put it out this time because I didn't have Goku's and Vegeta's in the drop anymore. So essentially, I was like, all right, just do it. Just finish it now.
Yeah, I feel like this is Black's interaction with Blue. There's just not a lot that Black can do once Blue gets defensive tools going. And like here, tapping 6 to play the Vegeta just to restand 4 at the end of the turn is just disrespectful.
Well, not just that, but those 4 cards pretty much told Nick that like if he could survive this turn, it didn't matter. He had Hatch.
Yeah. Yep.
So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in today's video. Keep minding his buttons down below and on the screen while Fluff does the outro.
So sorry that Nick had to sit through that. Hopefully you guys did find some insight in the video though. As always, read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and Fluff out.